Hi, and welcome to Pro Talks. My name is Hannah Staples, and I'm the Accounting Director for Professional Support Staff. And today I just want to talk to you about a few year-end tips to keep in mind when it comes to closing the books. When you're getting ready to close your financials out for the year 2020, and we're looking forward to the next year, there are a few things that would be good to keep in mind to review before you do that process. And one of the first things that I like to do, and I like to do this on a monthly basis, all of these steps that I'm going to talk about, I like to really do on a monthly basis, but you definitely want to do them at the year end before you close out your financials. And the first tip that I would give to you is to review all of your income and expense accounts. Make sure that everything is designated. You don't want to have any transactions on your books that are left uncategorized or undesignated. All your expenses should go to an expense account. All your income should go to an income account. You definitely want to make sure a good report to run for this is your profit and loss, and run it for the whole year. At a glance, especially if things are allocated to the wrong accounts, say your office supplies, you have a general amount you spend each month, but then you get to the year end and your amount is way off the charts. Then you might need to drill down. Another way to double check this at a glance from your reports would be your budget versus actuals. See what you budgeted for the year, and is there a certain month that went off? I like to look at it monthly, but you can run all 12 months so you can see what your year-end balances are and then see what happened. And there might account for certain things, especially this year. A lot of churches invested in media equipment and audio and visual aids. So some people had things that were a little different this year than the normal, but definitely run those reports. Make sure that everything is categorized and everything is accounted for. One of the next things that you definitely want to keep in mind before you close the year end is to make sure that all of your accounts, like bank accounts, credit card accounts, PayPal accounts, petty cash accounts, they are all reconciled. And you want to make sure that they're reconciled. If you're using software, make sure that each month has been reconciled and nothing is left outstanding that shouldn't be. Now, in your savings accounts and stuff, there's almost never an outstanding item. But when it comes to your checking account, if you're actively writing checks, and there's a lot of times there are a few things, it shouldn't necessarily be a huge list, but when you reconcile, you want to make sure you're reconciled each month, but then you want to run that reconciliation report. And you definitely want to review this report for the 12th month. Especially, I do it every month, but at the year end, you want to really run this. Some softwares may call it an outstanding report, outstanding items, but you want to double check that list. There shouldn't be anything from back in January or June come year end. Everything should be pretty current, and usually it's just checks that are carrying over. If you had a deposit the very last day or something, that might be carrying over, but you shouldn't have anything that's like months and months old on there, especially not from previous years. So that's something you definitely want to look at, and you may need to make adjustments. You may need to take care of something, but you definitely want to double check that outstanding list. Again, it's either an outstanding report or a reconciliation report, but that's definitely something that's really good to review. And then too, all of your accounts are reconciled from the bank to the software. So when you're running your financials for your church staff, for your pastor, for a business meeting, for your bank, you know that they're accurate and correct, and everything is being accounted for. And another thing that I want to mention when it comes to reviewing things for year end is your financial reports. We talked about the profit and loss and budget versus actuals, but another great report to run is your balance sheet. And this allows you to look at such things like liability accounts, designated income accounts. For schools, you may have prepaid tuition or prepaid registration. Usually by this point of the year, the prepaid registrations should be zeroed out, but you want to make sure if you accounted for prepaid tuition, say people came and paid for the whole year, that you have that properly going out each month, and that balance should be lowered. It may not be zero, but you want to make sure that the balance is accurate as of December 31st. And when it comes to churches and or any schools, any small businesses, if you run payroll through your software, your liabilities will have an account where you withhold taxes or maybe insurance or retirement, things like that from people's paychecks, and it goes into a liability account until you pay that out. And you want to make sure that those balances are correct. I like to look at those each month when I reconcile, but especially at the year end, you only have funds in there that should be accounted for. Some people pay their taxes every time they do payroll, so it should zero out. If you have where you pay once a month, say on the 15th, then you would have a small balance carrying over into January from December. But you definitely want to review those balances, making sure that everything is accounted for, making sure that if you withheld insurance for one of your employees or retirement, that you paid it out appropriately to the correct vendor on their behalf. And another good thing to double check on that balance sheet, if you have a mortgage or a loan for your church, some banks will send you like a certificate saying, double check your records. Other people, they just have it on the statements. But you always want to double check your loan balances against the bank at the year end and make sure that all the principal lined up and that you're matching it. If you're not, you need to look back and say at your payments and see if something was not applied properly to interest or to the principal balance. But your balance sheet is a good place to look at all of those balances and see what you need to carry over into the next year. See if there is anything designated that you might need to hold and carry over that balance into the new year. But all of these steps allow you to properly clean things up, review everything, make sure everything is accounted for, and then you're ready to close your books and start the new year. Another thing that I like to do at this time, once I do all that, I look at the year, then I like to start working on a proposed budget for the following year. And I like to do that in the month of December to give your pastor or your principal or your boss a chance to review and kind of plan and think things through, but it gives them time to look at it and to make some decisions. So I like to do that a little bit earlier before the year end. These other tips, especially like reconciling, that has to happen in December once the month has ended. So it happens in the very beginning of July. But that budget, I like to kind of review that and set up a proposed budget and give that to the leaders so that they can review that and let you know if there are any changes that you may need to make or anything that they're planning on doing in the following year that you may need to account for. But these are just a few tips that I hope help you as you get ready for your year end coming up, just to keep in mind and to run through. If you have any questions about what some of these reports or these processes are, please feel free to reach out to us. We handle bookkeeping on different levels for all of our clients, and I'm sure there's a way that we could help you streamline something. If that's what you're looking for, feel free to email us, look at our website, prosupportstaff.com, or even give us a call at 865-272-6550, and we'd be happy to talk to you. Until next time.